What's the worst omen you can see on a football pitch?
An omen?
Yeah. Are footballers superstitious?
Yes.
Is it a young woman with a list of allegations?
But is there something about the markings on the field that are significant to occultists?
It's to do with the many superstitions that are associated with football. 1990 World Cup.
Right.
There was an Argentine goalkeeper called Sergio Goycochea.
Did he have a body part of an animal or something in the goal net?
No, what happened to him was Argentina's quarter-final was against Yugoslavia and it ended in a draw, which meant they had to do penalty shootout. He needed to wee, but he wasn't allowed to leave the field. So his teammates surrounded him and he had a wee and he then blocked 2 penalty shots. So the coach thought this was a marvellous thing, took it as an omen, and he went on to urinate on the field again with his teammates around him before the semi-final penalty shootout against Italy. He blocked 2 shots and they went on into the finals, but they lost the finals against West Germany because...
He didn't urinate.
He didn't wee because...
He didn't go to a shootout.
He didn't go to a shootout.
Wasn't Germany's winning goal a penalty?
It was a late penalty and it was in the main body of the game, so he didn't have time to wee.
Didn't have time for a wee?
No.
When they stood around him, did they look in or out, do you know?
Do you know, I always think I've got all the information I need for this show.
Do you think he was a bit self-conscious?
Well, because he might have been wearing somebody else's underpants. Apparently that's a very common footballer thing, is that they swap underpants. Some of them wear them inside out.
Do not.
Yeah.
Was it Barry Fry who weed in all 4 corners of the ground? Do you remember that?
Yes, I believe that is a fact that Barry Fry, whilst manager of Birmingham, perhaps weed in every corner of the ground.
I thought you said Barry Cryer.
No, not
We're off to the match, and it's penalty time. For the best chance of success, where should you aim?
At the ball.
And then into the goal. I'm so bad at sport, my inclination would be to... I know where I'd hit it, so I would then just reverse my natural inclination. That would probably be the best.
It's a bit of game theory going on,
Well,
on yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I'd go top right, which means that probably the best way would be bottom left.
Top corner either way is not the best.
Is it at the goalie?
Yes.
Because he's going to jump.
Because he's going to...
Yeah.
He's going to go.
Because the goalkeeper nearly always goes one way or the
So
other.
you hit it straight in the middle?
Straight down the middle is far and away the most statistical likely way of doing it. But it's odd because footballers know this, because it's been, you know, obviously well gone over, and yet footballers don't.
Is it because they just think they'd look so stupid if they kicked it right at
Yes.
the keeper and the keeper just caught
If
it?
the 1 or 2 times out of 100, the goalkeeper does actually stay in the middle and the ball goes and hits him, the crowd would just boo their heads off and think that the penalty taker is the biggest idiot in the world, although statistically he was doing exactly the right thing. So they'd rather not look a fool. You're
Because
absolutely
it's
right.
seen as 50-50. When if the goalie goes the correct way and saves it, it's still seen as all right, isn't it? It's
Yes.
bad luck.
In fact, it's 57% in one direction, 41% in the other. You know which that might be?
Left,
left.
right?
It's 57% left, yes.
'Cause
They go left more
Right
often.
foot.
And 2% in the middle. 3 countries have an absolute 0% success record in penalty shootouts. They played 2 and lost 2.
San Marino?
No, it's Gabon,
Micronesia.
Romania and Chile. But there's one country that's taken part in more than 2 and has the worst record of all in the world.
Is it
apart from
England?
those 3. And it's England.
Yeah.
Why is
What
that?
a surprise.
No,
It's 1-1.
We've won 1 out of 8. 12.5% success rate, as opposed to Germany, who've won 83% of theirs.
Why is that, then? Because presumably all teams have access to that very simple statistical information. Is it just the fact that it's now embedded in the psyche?
Mentally weak.
No, I'm not. Come on.
Do you think hypnotism would help?
Probably.
Of the keeper?
I think if it was me, I'd stand by one post, feigning indifference. And as he ran out to take it, I would sprint to the other post, surely distracting him. And if he did go that way, it would hit me on the way past.
That would do it. Yep, that's the plain truth. To be successful in penalty shootouts, either go straight down the middle or be German. How upset are the Germans about the 1966 World Cup?
Well, very, I would say. Well, they would be, for surely, I would have thought, a proud nation like the Germans.
They were upset at the time, but I said, how upset are they? They barely remember it. If you asked every German who won the World Cup in 1966...
Yeah, they're pretending.
No, because the fact is...
World Cup? No, I don't know.
No, because we care about it, they don't. They care about their scores against Holland. That's their big thing. They really, honestly, if you ask the average German, they're just 66. They really don't know. Oh, did you? Well done, you know.
International...
For us, it was like everything. Wow, we won. But they, in 1974, beat the Dutch, and that, to them, was the one they really, really care about.
But they surely, the Dutch have never provided a great deal of opposition to them. Generally, in history, they've just walked into Holland whenever they fancied it.
Oh, in that sense.
Any time they want, they just go into Holland, which is just like spin the windmill. I haven't mentioned it yet.
I was talking about the great Geschmertzflip in 1762,
where they just walked into Holland, but they can just enter. Oh, I'll mention the War of Holland. You have to. Surely they're denying their true rivalry, which will be with us.
Why?
They're in denial.
We may think that, but it's up to them to decide. I mean, you can't force
they're
a German to care about whether they beat us or not.
Well, they bloody well should.
Yes. I'm sure you're very upset by it, but, I mean, they just don't care that much. And there are other things like the sun lounge hogging with the towel.
Yeah.
Is that something you've actually experienced?
Yeah.
There's some picture of it.
These are some of Alan's holiday photos.
It turns out that a German lawyer called Ralph Hooker actually did a study, and he confirms that we think it. But Germans are blissfully unaware of their reputation in this case.
No,
but
really?
a study by Halifax...
I think they don't care is the right description of it.
They just don't... They don't know that's what we think of them.
They
But
think
Halifax
it's
Travel
just common sense
Yeah.
to go down before breakfast, basically at dawn.
It turns
Take
out
all the beds around the pool.
that Halifax Travel Insurance in 2009 confirmed with a study that Germans are the most likely to reserve sun lounges with towels. And which nation do you think is the second most likely to?
The Dutch.
The British.
The British.
Yeah, very close.
Who turn up
In
10
fact.
minutes later and go,
Exactly. Well, the French and Italians and Portuguese are having breakfast and not really
well, and
caring.
also they're in their own countries.
Yeah, well, that's... that's true.
Enjoying the lovely food and weather.
That is highly true.
Speaking of football, Alan, Romesh, who is the most successful Arsenal manager of all time?
Is it me?
I want it to be you.
No, that's Bertie me. He was one of your most famous managers, wasn't he?
Well, in terms of winning trophies, it's Arsene Wenger.
Do you follow football,
Not
Rachel?
at all, but I'm willing to participate in this conversation.
OK.
Timothy...
Say George Graham.
George Timothy Graham.
Rachel? It's not George Graham.
Herbert Chapman.
Steffi Graf.
Weirdly, Rachel is heading closer to the correct answer than anybody.
What? Really?
I know.
Martina Navratilova.
Serena
Williams.
It is women that we are...
Vic Akers.
It is Vic Akers, absolutely right, who founded the Arsenal Ladies Football Club. He managed it till retirement in 2009. Under his management, the ladies' team won 32 major honours, including the FA Women's Cup 10 times, as opposed to Arsene Wenger's management, where the men's team has won 7 FA Cup titles.
Vic Akers is the kit man for the men's team, and he always wears shorts no matter what the weather. So on my podcast, we refer to his genitals as Little Vic and the Acres. He's greatly loved, Vic.
Well, what a fantastic track record. I mean, 32.
Astonishing. It's I mean, at the time, hardly anyone else played women's football, must be said.
Well, there was a time in the 1920s when there were 150 women's football teams in England, and they could draw bigger crowds than the men's teams. The reason it all fell apart was the FA stopped women playing on Football Association pitches.
This team is Where's Wally FC?
This team is actually the Dick Kerr's ladies' team. They were named after the munitions factory where most of them worked. They were the first women's team to ever play in shorts. And my favourite player was a woman called Lily Parr, And apparently she was astonishing, but she was also a chain smoker, and she insisted...
Look at the length of that cigarette.
She insisted part of her wages was in Woodbine cigarettes. And sometimes she was known to play while still smoking.
Anyone know the score?
Of this game or something to do with football?
Something to do.
Is there football on?
Yeah, Arsenal are playing at home. It's a very inconsiderate scheduling, in my view.
Where is that, darling? Where do they play?
In North London, in Islington.
Oh. I was trying to sound interested.
Oh, we're 2-1 up, Sandy. We're 2-1 up.
Who are you playing?
At half-time.
Who are you playing, then?
Bournemouth.
Are they difficult?
Thank you very much.
Very, very difficult.
What's magnificent, Sandy, under your tenure at QI is how, as Claudia and I reach for our phones to check on our children and Alan checks the football score, those gender identities have been really challenged. Pushing back the barriers.
Phantom raspberry blower.
OK, yep.
5-1. 5-1, and I'm fucking sitting here. I can't believe it. We haven't won 5-1 for years. Sorry, I realise I'm still at work.
Is that